We're a bunch of passionate sports people. We're cyclists. We meet on any given Saturday and sometimes during the week to spend time with our friends and our families and to indulge in the sport that we enjoy. We are cycle specialists. It all began when a group of passionate cyclists got together with Neil Abbott, the owner of Cycle Specialist Cycling Store, and form a club for people who are interested in developing the sport of cycling in the Durban area.
Cycle Specialist started about 15 years ago as a cycle store, and the game was just to get people onto bicycles, and from bicycles is to help them stay on bicycles and to develop them from what we call a beachfront rider to like a fully fledged cyclist. And I think what motivates everybody is the friendship that the guys enjoy being on and off the bicycle. And it's attracted more and more people from different sizes, different ages, different kids to get together and to enjoy this lifestyle of cycling. And I think that's what helped us grow from there, and I think it's going to help it continue to grow more. When you see guys coming in and they can't even do a 10K ride, and then a year later they're riding the 160K rides, I think that's what just keeps us all motivated from the top to the bottom.
Well, I've always been involved with the shop. So when they started the club up, I started out initially just by riding, casually. And then it just grew over the years, just got a bit better and better, and I just stayed with the club. It's an awesome club to be with, and I was happy to ride with them. Yeah, this club has made me a better person, better rider. It's helped me a lot. I like the camaraderie, the being together, people that you're with. You learn a lot from the other experienced riders. So it's helped me a lot to where I am now. Starting to enjoy myself, being out there early in the morning, getting that fresh air and enjoying it, being on a bike. That was my one of my greatest attractions. Yeah. Well, basically we look after you, we wait for you, we encourage you, we teach you how to get up those hills, to get you back. We don't want you to get hurt on the first ride, so we want you to come back. If you're a slow rider, we wait for you and we encourage you. We will never leave you behind. There will always be someone waiting for you, always.
Up until now, we've been focusing on road cycling. Recently, we've become more involved in mountain biking. We also want to focus on triathlon. We also want to become more involved in the development of cycling among disadvantaged communities, and we'd like to have more women and children involved in the sport of cycling.
This club is where I got the opportunity to be introduced to cycling by the likes of Dino Mudley and Andrew, who took me from how to sit on a bike to how to pedal, how to change a tire, what happens when you're going downhill, how to brake. So it was never all just racing. It began somewhere. And I must say, like-minded people start speaking more and more, realizing, oh wow, I'm losing some weight, I'm getting faster. And that's when the racing intention came in. Personally, I've always been competitive, always raced every sport I did. Cycling was completely new for me. This is actually my third year of cycling, and it just took time. And eventually, we ended up with about 3 to 4 guys who noticed that we enjoy the racing, and the club supported until we got to a point where people started looking at us and wanted to join. I think that's where we shot off as starting to call ourselves racers. Far from it, but that's the aspect in the club. And yeah, I'm just glad to be a part of the racing aspect in the club. And every ride goes out, there's always a new member that wants to know what we're doing, how we're doing it, how we're dieting, how we're getting faster. And I'd I'm proud to say this year alone, I can count about 3 or 4 guys that have joined our faster group, or our A group if you want to call it, and it all began as cycle specialists. I think preparation is personal, right? As a group, we ride together, we talk, we make fun of each other, pick on people's flaws, try to improve on those flaws, try to copy ideas from other riders, talk to better riders. That's my mental preparation. Then we will set days in the week, in the weekends, when to ride, what distances we're doing, what is tapering, what is pushing, what is intervals, and you learn in as you go in. You start learning by answering questions. You start learning by riding with new people. No one knows everything.
I don't want to be the one phone somebody's husband, wife, mom, or dad to tell them they're coming home in an ambulance, all right? Motorists and cyclists can share the road safely. It's one of our advocacy points. This club is going to drive for that to be a reality. A couple of years ago, when Jared and Richard died on the M4 in a horrific accident, it really shook the riding community. Many of the members were shocked and surprised that this type of thing could happen in our neighborhood. Neil and I started the eThekwini Cycle Safe Forum together with some of the leadership of other clubs in the area and the municipality and some of the local authorities. The effort there was trying to create a mouthpiece, a voice, a platform to have the conversation between those 3 groups to really improve the tension that we found out there on the roads. You know, I'd love to see a day when we ride on the roads, we can smile at motorists. Where motorists smile back, we can wave at them. I don't have to look back every time to see if a motorist is coming too close to me or the club, right? So I look forward to that day, and I think that day is possible. But how it affects us every week is we've got to do a ride briefing. We've got to remind people that it's not safe out there, that there's regular accidents, especially out on the fast zones on the M4 and some of the other roads that we ride in. We've got to remind them, we've got to keep them focused on the task at hand, we've got to keep them riding safely, and you know, just to make sure that we can all return home in the same way that we arrived.
So safety is very important in the club. In fact, it's one of the key issues before we ride off. We discuss safety, how to file up on the road. Also in terms of me being the safety car at the rear end of the group, that if I can see something happening behind me in terms of a car that's speeding, I've got to give a hooter just so that I warn the guys up front, and then they move off to the left into single file. So safety is very, very important. The reason being that we've got seasoned guys who are quite aware and au fait with the rules of the road, but also we have new guys that are joining in for the first time, so we bring them up to speed with regard to the safety talk. We also got a safety kit in the car in terms of first aid and spares. We drive early in the morning so it's dark, and therefore we need to have your front lights on the bike to work. You also need your rear lights, which is red, to also be working so that you're visible to the drivers at that time on the day. The safety vehicle itself it's got the strobe light, and our headlights and our hazards are on. So that's the best we can do given the circumstances that we're riding in a public road, and to ensure the safety of the riders up front. We ensure that no one is left behind. For one reason is that we're not sure whether this guy's going to be or this person's going to be involved in the accident or even have a puncture. And the essence of riding together is to ensure we are our brother's keeper. That means we look out for each other, and we make sure that we encourage each other. I enjoyed being at the back because I know the guy right at the end of the trail is going through some own pains and own issues, and we're there to encourage them and to make sure that all is okay, and also to give them the comfort that they're not alone on the road.
If you want a vibe, if you want a social scene, if you want to improve, if you want to ride with your parents, if you want to ride with your family, this is the place to ride. right? We've got the best vibe here in Durban. We've got a growing club. We're now 3 years old. We're one of the few clubs that are growing its road cycling component. We're about to start serious mountain biking efforts. We're about to launch into triathlon. We're the club to join if you want to do any of those activities. We've got a safety focus, we've got a fun focus, we've got a family focus.